I'm going to have to take a moment and respectfully understand this from two different angles. Now, the businessman in me understands this. The NBA itself is a business. You're going to do what you think is best for your franchise in the long run, no matter what organization you belong to. Unless you're the Sacramento Kings, Orlando Magic, Raptors, Pacers, Knicks, Nets. I mean, I'm not going to keep going. I mean, I'm insulting every one of these teams, and be quite frank, it's like I'm not lying to you, right, Dave? Dave's smiling, so he knows I'm right. And Danny saw an opportunity to get a younger player in Kyrie Irving on a longer contract by utilizing the assets he had. Think about it. Back in 2015, we turned Marcus Thornton and a first-round pick into Isaiah Thomas. Danny Ainge wanted IT right out of the gate in free agency, didn't get him, signed with Phoenix. We got him immediately in the middle of that season, and look what it's turned into. He went from being the 60th pick in the 2011 draft to being traded for the number 1 pick in that draft. I think he's come a long way, and it talks about player development with the Celtics organization as a whole. There was talent with Isaiah Thomas. I'm not going to deny that, but it talks about development with the Celtics in particular, because they took a guy who was put on a 3-year, $24 million deal into a guy who was in the MVP conversation and I believe 3rd or 5th in scoring last season, which says a lot, but it speaks for itself when he was traded. You know, the guy's coming off the books this summer. With him being older, at least, than Kyrie Irving, there was no chance. Gordon Hayward made Jay Crowder expendable this summer. And the sweetener to the deal was the 2nd-round pick that the Celtics had to give up from Miami to complete the deal overall. I'm going to put my trust in Danny Ainge. Delivered 2008 to us. He's delivered multiple conference title teams to us. Got us teams that could get us to the finals, even though there were injuries or shortcomings along the way. We can't hold it against Danny Ainge. He's doing what the NBA calls for. It's a business. In a time when players are expressing free will and the ability to go wherever they want without being scrutinized by both the public, other players, and people in the organization, it speaks volume. Now, this is me speaking as an NBA fan, but more so a Celtics fan. This is the same guy who played for you only a couple days after his sister's tragic passing. The same guy who is now marked and forever put in Celtics history because he scored 53 points in a playoff game and is second to Larry Bird in regular season scoring average at 28.93 points per game last season. IT represented the next era of Celtics basketball after the Big Three. We all knew it. As soon as Tommy Heinsohn was shouting, "The little guy!" we knew that that was the next big face, because no one shouts a name like that unless it means something to the people and the fans, the people who come to watch. The little guy brought fourth quarter heroics back to Boston. It was almost reminiscent of Pierce, you know, going down to the fourth quarter and having the ball in his hands and just putting the shot in and knowing even before the shot was shot that it was going in regardless, because that's the type of man Paul Pierce was. Isaiah Thomas developed a following. He developed a trend in Celtics basketball, the new wave. He was a fresh face. I cannot say how thankful I am to have had Isaiah Thomas on the roster, to thank him for what he's done for both the organization as a whole and done for the city of Boston and the state of Massachusetts, but I can't thank him enough for bringing back the excitement of Celtics basketball. That being said, I don't think we did him dirty, and I say that because I love the man. I would do anything for him, but when it comes to the business aspect, you got to do what's best, and I understand what Danny Ainge did. I was once told that by my father. There is never a good time to do anything. There's always going to be an excuse as to why it's a bad time. Well, at the end of the day, the deal is done. Isaiah Thomas is no longer a Boston Celtic.